Yeah.
Wow.
Is that a great opener or what?
That is the first time I have seen the new intro.
They did that last week too, and man,
yes,
we're looking for the marching band.
I was in San Francisco last week, folks. Sorry that I missed the show, but we did a 12-day Amtrak tour. I never announce this stuff ahead of time because
jealous.
People come to my house. It was a lot of fun. I would do Amtrak again. It's an experience. You have to get used to sleeping on the train because it goes you're like this,
and it's got
all the time.
Do you hear the constant clack?
Yep.
You do.
And they have to blow their whistle at every crossing, so it's constantly being whistled.
They have a certain number of they blast long and short. I don't know what they are, but as they approach each crossing, that's required by law.
Thank you for the help.
Hey,
you got me situated earlier. We went to San Francisco, spent 4 days in San Francisco, and I've been there before for conventions, but that always means that you're rushed to do any of the touristy stuff because you're doing a convention all day.
If you get to it all.
And so this time it was just hubby and myself. He'd never been, and we did all the tourist traps, like Alcatraz and Lombard Street, and the whole works, everything. Fisherman's Wharf. We had dinner on. Yep, the Fisherman's Wharf, the cable cars, the whole works. And it was a lot of fun, but we are glad to be home. So I would definitely in the 2 days after we got back, there was an earthquake out there. And the funny thing is the last time I went, I drove out to San Diego Comic-Con because I needed to go to LA and pick up Bernie Wrightson and his two sons. And my daughter had flown out the week before and stayed with them so that he could show her around Hollywood and the set of the Green Mile and that he was working on, stuff like that. So I drove out to LA, picked Bernie, his two boys, my daughter up. We all drove down to San Diego, did the show, drove back to LA, dropped them off, went up to San Francisco to show my daughter some of San Francisco. And the day after we left, they had an earthquake. I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to be able to go to San Francisco.
You're not good luck for SD
anymore. So
SD and SF.
Yep. Thank you for joining us tonight, everyone. Appreciate you dropping in. I see we have 6. Oh, just changed to 6 whole viewers.
Cool.
I want to remind everybody that we currently have a crowdfunder going on. It's Cape Town, Brent Larson's Cape Town, and Rob actually did one of the covers for this.
Yes, one of my covers is in there. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's an awesome Cape Town is a play on words. It's not actually Cape Town, South Africa. Cape Town is a town full of superheroes.
Here's that cover.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know who's inking it. I think it was Tommy inked it, if I remember right. Tommy Florimonte.
Believe so. We have got about less than $300 left to go to make our goal, and we only have 6 days to do it. So please pop on over to the crowdfunder. The link is in the comments, and help us out if you would, please. It's a great book. If you like satire and a commentary on superheroes, then this is right up your alley. All right, tonight we're dating ourselves here. Really, I understand that. Tonight we are going to talk about our favorite comics, non-DC, non-Marvel, indie comics from the 90s. And I know that there are listeners out there that bug us to do more stuff from the 90s because they apparently are big 90s fans. So here we are.
The 90s seem to be back. The 80s and 90s music seems to be back too. So,
oh God,
we're having a cultural revival.
Speaking of which,
2 decades.
I got to throw down a Haight-Ashbury. Groovy, man. Brought back memories of braids and with leather bands, and
I hope the smells were as good this time as they were back in the 60s and 70s.
Like patchouli.
You got my my wife loves that scent. You got my attention when you said groovy man. I was like, wait, that's the lead singer of My Life with a Thrill Kill Cult. So he's awesome.
Groovy man.
Groovy man.
It was awesome to be there. And my sister is just green with envy. Got to prove it. You got to have a picture of the Haight and Ashbury street signs. Like, here you go. So yeah.
I wonder how often they have to replace those.
I don't know.
People are probably trying to steal those in the middle of the night.
Yeah. And my husband is 6 years older than I am, so he was actually drafted for the Vietnam War, and they ended the draft after he had already had his physical and was ready to go. He was in college during all the riots and the protests and stuff like that. So he was like, he's like, Mecca, I have arrived. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. Okay, so we are going to talk about our 5 fave comics of the 90s. Now, all of us picked a few more than 5 in case we run out of time.
Well, except for me, I had a lot to do today, and I didn't realize that was our topic. So I hadn't done anything before today, but I did do. When you said do your homework, I did it. So
yeah, I warned you guys ahead of time to do.
I didn't get 5. Homework. I appreciate that.
So while Rob doesn't have anything to hold up, we managed to rope John into showing his choices. So we're going to start with Rob's first choice.
Oh, my first choice.
Yep. So if you want to bring.
That's yep. So
the very first one I posted.
I had to do the crazy, take it from my phone, download them all, put them in a Google Drive, share it with my wife because I'm on her computer, and I was trying to rename some of this stuff right now.
How many hoops can you jump through?
Exactly. So Rob, okay, give me the letter of the first one you want to start with. What's that?
P as in Popeye. Or,
yes.
Or in this case.
Yep, got it. By Jove, I think I've got it. Okay, fantastic.
No, that's not. There he is.
There he is.
And are we supposed to talk about why
yes.
he's your favorite? Okay, well.
Why is that one of your favorites?
Well, because it kind of makes fun of the whole image, guys pumped up on with thin waists and all those muscles and all this, plus the fact that it also kind of investigates a young person's idea of what being a superhero is, because Prime is actually a teenage boy who transforms himself into Prime with all those. So his idea of what a superhero is all those muscles and the thin waist and the whole macho idea, and of course that clashes with real life, which adults that don't see the world that way. So
he's got the mentality of a teenager.
He's got a very young teenager. I think he was just like he'd be a freshman in high school or an 8th grader even. So he has that whole mindset that so that's what I enjoyed about this particular book, because it investigated all that and kind of shone a light on it. Yeah, that's a real good example that shows the little skinny kid down there with Prime in behind him. So the juxtaposition of that thought against what real life would do with that was what made that book interesting to me. And it was the first one, when you said 90s, that's the first one that popped into my head, because I really enjoyed reading it. And then it was drawn by Norm Breyfogle, the late great Norm Breyfogle, and he really brought a dynamic feel to it as well. So it was a well-written book. It was well drawn, and it investigated some interesting ideas. So that's what attracted me to it.
I have to agree. And full disclosure to our audience that Rob and I are old Malibu workers, artists, and we got
freelancers.
Yep, we both, or at least I did. I'm not sure how much you worked in the Malibu or in the Ultraverse.
I did all the Star Trek stuff, and before that, I did some stuff on their black and white books for.
But I worked on almost every Ultraverse book.
Which,
at some point or another. A lot of them were fill-ins, but I did all of the solitaires. So, full disclosure, we might be a little biased, but I didn't pick the books that I picked because of if I worked on them or not. I picked them because they are books that I read and enjoyed. So, just trying to be.
Well, and the nice thing about these is my editor at Malibu at the time sent me a lot of freebies. And amongst those freebies was this book and a couple of others that I really enjoyed reading. So, I might not have picked this up, but I did get one in a package, and I went, "Oh, I've got to have these." So if I didn't get a particular issue and it showed up in the comic shop, I would pick it up. So that's how much I enjoyed this book.
Yeah, Norm Breyfogle's art was just spectacular.
Stupendous, yeah. And loved it when he went over to draw the Batman books too. So
yeah, and we see the juxtaposition of his scrawny little teenager against the big muscle bound.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me. It was kind of an interesting take on the old Shazam Captain Marvel from the 40s and 50s. It's got some of that same thing going on. The teenager turning into an adult-sized superhero, but it turns it all on its head in the fact that the kid imagines that a superhero, and it's just out of control. It's crazy, and Breyfogle just did a great job of illustrating that. I don't know who did this picture. Is that Joe Jusko? I can't tell, and you can't read the signature. It's too fuzzy. But that's a great rendition.
All righty. You can take those out of there, John.
I'm trying to figure out how to. I was actually trying to switch it back to the other one.
You got it.
How about you, Haley? We're gonna go around here and around.
Our special guest tonight. Haley.
Yeah, I know I've not been here for a while, but yeah, it's good to be back. And then I'm jumping back in a topic that at first I thought, I know nothing about because I was born in the 90s. So I'm like, well, I
rub
was
it
like,
in. Thanks a lot.
You're in between Haley and us, so you know.
And that was evident by the books that were chosen by you and Rob versus me. I'm like, it's gonna show. But
we have 3 generations.
I can't wait to see what Haley has.
Yeah, because I'm like in the 90s, I was like, I don't know, comics where I was reading like Dr. Seuss. I wasn't reading comics. But
well, but it is what it is.
It is. Yeah, but should I start with the one that we were talking about before? Because I don't want to steal.
No. This was one of my picks, but I graciously allowed Haley to steal it because she has read it much, much more recently than I have. So she's way up there on
I'm hoping she talking about it finally convinces me to break down, go out and buy it and read it myself, because I have not.
Yeah,
so
I cannot understand that.
I want to hear the insight. It's just how things were back then. Most of what I read was what I got free from Malibu and DC. So go ahead, Haley. I'm sorry.
So that's
stepping on you.
Bone, which is I have the whole which is huge. And
What's
the
going
door
to hold up
stop.
this, you know?
The door
yeah.
stop.
And
You
so
got the
I'm
door
curious,
stop.
are yours in color, Barb, or black and white?
No,
'Cause
mine
I
are all
know
black and white.
Okay, because I think
Yeah.
they did do a colored version, but yeah, I've got the black and white version, and yeah, the whole thing, which took me a while to get through. But yeah, it's a cool story. I love how the main characters are just these they're just called bones, and it's never really explained like what that means. They're just bones, that's what they are. And they're so like very cartoony and have kind of like a Mickey Mouse sort of anatomy, which is really fun. But then the other characters, there's like animals and humans, and a lot of the
Rat creatures.
backgrounds. Yes, the rat. Honestly, I think the rat creatures are so cute.
They like quiche.
Yeah, especially like the baby one that they befriend. Like he's really cute. He's like a bear cub. But yeah, and so I haven't read the colored version, but I don't know how like that must be so different because just like the use of the blacks for yeah, here I should hold it up and show some more and just yeah, the art is definitely like my favorite part about it. The story's pretty fun too. It kind of it's very long. Like I feel like it probably could have been like half the length, but and still got the same story across.
But then you would miss the Great Cow Race.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of details. But,
well, it's a unique fantasy in that you don't have the typical. You have some of the typical fantasy elements, but the protagonist is Phone Bone. Yeah, is Phone Bone
Yeah,
and his cousins Phony and
the rat creatures.
yeah, the rat creatures.
Yeah.
Phony and Smiley are his cousins, and they are so and antithetical to what you would think of as your typical fantasy hero. You know.
Yeah, there's some of the like Smiley Bone is obviously the smiling one and
dim-witted.
Yeah. And then Phony is the one who's like always trying to make schemes to make money. And then
the style is very expressive. That's what I really like about it. Always impressed me the art did. I haven't sat down and read it, but I've seen examples of the artwork, and it's just very expressive, very detailed, very minimalist in that it's weighted lines instead of a lot of cross hatching and stuff. Which I like a lot.
The bones are very Carl Barks like.
Yes. Yes.
Acres of Movies wants to know who your favorite character is in that.
Probably what's his name, Barnaby or something.
Bartleby?
Yes, there's like a baby rat creature that they befriend, and and he's just and he's just so cute because all the other rat creatures are like bad and trying to eat them, but then he, they kind of
unless they're eating quiche.
So yes, I do kind of like those two. The two rat creatures that I don't think they have names, but they just like show up and and the one of them's like, I just want quiche, and the other one's like, no, we're monsters, we don't eat quiche. Like, what's wrong with you?
Okay,
that's so, like some good. There's some good comedy in there.
A question is the story character driven or is it plot driven, or is it a mix of both?
Probably a mix. I think I would say more character driven. Because there's like Phone Bone is. Like he's definitely the protagonist, but then there's the human girl Thorn that he befriends, and then she kind of has this like chosen one sort of like special power sort of, so she's almost like the hero of the story, I guess.
And Phone Bone is so in love with her.
Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting because I'm like, she's like a teenager and I don't know how old he is, and you're not even a human, so I don't know how that
not even the same
but it's okay. He just has a crush on her and it's cute. It's not. It doesn't really need to go any.
And Grandma Ben, she's got a mystery all the way through that you want to find out what that is.
Okay, so that's the plot driven part, but it sounded to me like the way you describe it, it is a lot character driven, and that's to me that's some of the more interesting writings, especially in comics, where the characters drive the story rather than some external plot pushing on them to go different directions. It goes where the characters choose to go rather than where the plot chooses to go. So that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, because reading it, like, and I don't know this for sure, but like reading it, I kind of got the impression that like in a way he was making it up as he went along, which isn't a
Exactly.
bad thing, but it wasn't like, oh, these are like the story beats I'm gonna hit. It's kind of like, here's the journey these characters are going on, like,
There
and
you
it really
go.
is a
That's
journey,
great.
like both like journeying through the fantasy world that they're in, and then like, you know, personal character growth journeys as well.
There you go.
Yes,
There you go.
they start out being run out of their town because
Yeah.
Phony Bone pulled a scam and everybody got pissed.
Mhm.
So they're run out on a
Yep.
rail, and they find themselves in this mysterious valley that's Fantasyland. Basically, has all these weird characters
Yeah.
like the rat creatures and
There's like a little
Rockjaw.
talking bug. Yeah.
Yeah, the talking bugs and
Yeah.
Rockjaw.
Yeah, see, there's
and
like a map. There's a map in the back, so you know it's like real fantasy.
yeah. Oh yeah, you got to have a map.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So yeah.
And the great red dragon
Yeah.
is in there too. So yeah, it's I highly recommend it. I am surprised. You got to put it on your Christmas list, Rob, because it would be right up your alley.
There you go. That's what I'll do. I'll put it on my
Yeah.
Christmas list. People are already bugging me for, what do you want for Christmas? And I'm hard to buy for. So this would be something to put on there. Thank you. That's a good idea.
Have you read it,
Yeah.
John?
I have not. I've always heard great things about it. And it was coming out when I was working in the comic stores back in the day, but I have never gotten around to reading it.
Yeah, we're in the,
I know.
We're
I
in the
know.
same boat. And to be honest, it does seem like it would be the kind of comic book that appeals to females. I mean, I don't know. I'm being a chauvinist here, I guess, but it does seem more like a book that women would be attracted to. But it does have some fantasy elements to it that I know of that should drag us guys through the story as well.
And there's a lot of humor.
Well.
There's a lot of humor.
Well,
in it too.
it sounds. Yeah, the pieces that I've seen some short stories set in that world with Phony Bone, and they are hilarious. So I've wanted to get into it, but just have not. The opportunity hasn't presented itself. So here we go.
All right, John, you're up.
All right, let's see what I can do here with photos. I'm still trying to learn all of this nice tech. All right, let me see if it'll let me grab multiple ones at once. So I'm gonna try to like walk and chew gum at the same time, which is probably a mistake.
Just
so
one book at a time, though. I mean,
I didn't
images, but one book.
Exactly. What I wanted to do, the one that I wanted to go with originally, it started in the 80s. But then we're like, okay, if it started in the 80s, went into the 90s, we were told it was allowed. And I'm like, cat and mouse. Not that I'm kissing head honcho's ass or anything, but, if it wasn't for cat and mouse, there wouldn't have been a Sniper and Rook. If there wasn't for a Roland Man, there wouldn't have been a John Middick writing comic books. So, like, my heart is with Silverline. So I said, okay, I'm not going to start in the 80s and bring it into the 90s. But guess what? 1990... one of the Silverline books that has been one of my all-time favorites, so that's why it was number one on my list for today, is Silver Storm. This one is near and dear to my heart. It was the sister title to Cat and Mouse. You have Christopher Castle in the suit of armor. You have Tempest in the not suit of armor. I'm clicking. I'm trying to pull up more pictures for you guys. It was 4 issues miniseries from Silverline 1.0. Beautiful art by Steve Butler. Steve Butler did, the inking chores on the original Cat and Mouse series, the original issues, and he did my favorite covers of that series as well. And he was on pencils for this entire 4-issue miniseries. It is one of my all-time favorites. You have a guy who you kind of think of like a Bruce Wayne crossed with a Iron Man, some people would say, and a girl who can control the storms and the winds, and she is a supermodel with some traumatic experiences in the past, and he's kind of been the playboy who says, now I need to knuckle down and actually start doing things right and fighting the evil Dr. Fear and his army of clones. Just absolute fun ride from start to finish. Black and white, 1990. Cannot say enough great stuff about it. And I don't know why I can't go back to clicking on former images.
Which one do you want?
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, I was just going to loop through them again. But yeah, so that was my first entry. And it even says up in the corner, from the people who brought you Cat and Mouse. There was a back page ad that showed Tempest in a awesome pose that I was always like, this piece of original art is like on my holy grail list. I think it said something to the effect of "There's no shelter from the storm." Steve Butler again. Oh my god, I love Steve Butler stuff. So yeah, Steven is one of my all-time favorites. Silverstorm, excellent stuff. And Roland gave me the opportunity to write those two characters when Silverline did our huge Christmas compilation that one year. So I wrote and lettered the Silverstorm story that was in the Christmas special.
Yay! Well, those are awesome. That's an awesome choice. I very highly agree with that. And now my turn. Right. My first choice, Mouse. Now I can hear you say, but that was done in the 80s. It was the individual books were put out in the 80s, but it was collected into graphic novel form in 1992, 91, 92. And it won the Pulitzer Prize, which this first time ever a graphic novel won a Pulitzer Prize. It won that in 1992. And it's a fascinating read because it's in black and white. And it goes back and forth between the author, Art Spiegelman, and this is all autobiographical, by the way. It's true story. It goes back and forth with him talking to his father, Vladik. And they have a very, very difficult relationship. So he's trying to get to know his father better. And it starts with his parents' experiences before World War II, and then it follows them through the Holocaust and their experiences in the concentration camps. And the really sad part about this is that Art's mother eventually committed suicide, and his father was so upset and grieving that blur filter is blurring pages. Sorry. Yeah, blur filter.
Well, you're getting some of it. Yeah.
His father was so in grieving about his wife dying that he destroyed all of her writings about her experiences in the concentration camp. And I think that's horrible.
It's sad.
Yeah, all of her written accounts of Auschwitz he destroyed. So Art set about talking and interviewing with his father. I think he started in late 70s, interviewing his father, and he started drawing this anthropomorphic tale of his parents' life interspersed with his discussions with his father. And in the tale, the Jews are mice, the Nazis are cats, and the Polish people are pigs. Now, I know that upsets a lot of people, but the story is so powerful that I cannot recommend it highly enough. It really affected me when I read it. Yes, Benjamin, I agree. Mouse is a great choice. That's my first choice for 90s. And that's the first time I was introduced to it, was in the 90s when I bought the graphic novel. I didn't follow the little black and white singles. Oh, Pops is gonna chime in here. Lady Death, Angela, I can so see Pops liking this stuff. Lady Death, Angela, Evil Ernie, Badger. I love Badger. While that was being written, Mike actually lived locally here. Max, Pitt, Zen, and Nira X off the top of my head. Painkiller Jane, was that 90s? I believe so.
I think you're right. I think
you are right. Okay, Rob.
Okay.
You're up again. So
My
tell
list.
John
What
what
did
you
I
want.
do with my list?
All right, Rob. Give me the initials.
R.
R. All right. R. Like the no.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
It's not
take me
Pirate
off
Day.
of solo here.
Rob,
Nobody
we've
needs
got...
to see my face.
Here is one.
Yep.
Now, see, this is one I'm not familiar with. You're going to have to tell me about it.
It was written by Mark Waid for CrossGen, and it's essentially Sherlock Holmes set on another planet or another dimension or whatever. It's another reality, and there's magic. There is no Dr. Watson. He's got a female woman that goes with him, and it explores. And she's got magical abilities, but she keeps them from the protagonist. And it's been so long ago, I don't remember names of characters. I hate that. I didn't have time to do more homework to find out the names of the characters. But Ruse is the name of the book. But it's very Sherlock Holmes-ish. Beautifully drawn by, and I can't think of the name of that either.
Which guys?
Butch Guys, thank you. Yes, and I really enjoyed his artwork on this. He's got realistic yet very expressive style.
It's because Benjamin says, I love Roos. My favorite Butch Guys work.
Thank you.
R.I.P.
Yes. Yeah, and it's very imaginative. And unfortunately, before certain subplots got resolved, CrossGen went out of business. So the stories, I don't know if they've come along later and filled in those holes or not. I know Marvel had rights to it for a little while and reprinted some of it. But it was on my must-read list as well. I picked it up at the comic shop, read about it, I think at CBG or somewhere, and thought it was a super idea, and then picked it up in the store, and it absolutely was. So it's something to go back and read if you're a Sherlock Holmes fan, if you're a Magic in Victorian era fan. That sort of stuff turns you on. If you're a Mark Waid fan, it's very, as usual. His writing is sharp and it has twists and turns to it that keep you engaged. So it was a very fun book to read.
Well, thank you. Okie dokie. We are back to Haley.
All right. Okay. Well, as many 90s kids, I was and still am into Pokemon. So I looked, and this is from the 90s, I believe. So there's a Pokemon manga. I'm honestly not a big manga reader, but I picked this up because I thought it looked pretty interesting, and it is. And I guess this is the first volume, and I think there's several. This is all I've read, but if you're familiar with the Pokemon games or the show, like, this is kind of a little bit different. It's definitely like still kid friendly here. I can show some of the art. But there's a little, like, it's a little more violent, like some, like normally in Pokemon, like the Pokemon fight, but they faint, they never die or anything. But in this one, like, a couple of them actually do die, I think. And like some of the like there's in each game there's like all these gym leaders, and you're supposed to like defeat them to get to the end of the game. But in this, like, half of them are bad guys and are like basically trying to kill the main protagonist. Like, it gets pretty intense. It's interesting.
It's definitely not like the children's game.
Yeah, like it's a bit more intense, and I love this this artwork, like the almost, I don't know if it's like watercolory, but just the way, like, I don't know, it's very 90s to me. The way there's like the kind of like white highlights and stuff, like that's how a lot of like the original, like the original artwork for like the original.
It could be alcohol
Pokemon.
markers, but watercolor alcohol markers.
Like, it's very
Bulbasaur.
Throwback.
Which, by the way, I knew nothing about Pokemon until about a year ago, when my grandson is just all over it. Oh my! And I know all of the characters now, whether I wanted to or not.
Yeah, I know. And this is back because there was 150. It was like the original how many Pokemon there are. Now there's like over 1,000, and they're always coming out more. And like I've played a lot of the modern games, but I'm starting to lose track. I'm like, okay, I kept up for a while. Like this is my childhood, but yeah, it's just it's crazy how big of a thing it's been, because like I was so into it when I was a kid, and now there's kids now that I know who are like still like collecting Pokemon cards and all into it. Like it's a multi-generational thing, which is cool.
Kind of like
but
turtles.
it all started in the
Turtles.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So that's the
all started
serialized
in the 90s.
version. Did the serial version come first, or did the game come first?
I believe the games are the very first thing. The games, and then I don't know in what order. Then like the, like the anime TV show, and then this, and then like the cards, and just like everything, just became like a whole huge thing. But yeah, I mean, I can remember being in like kindergarten or first grade, and like every day I would come home from school and like watch Pokemon, and like I was so into it. And then I kind of like felt like I was a little too cool for it for a while. And then I like I didn't know that there were video games. And then when I found out that there were video games and you could like catch all the Pokemon, I was like, what? This is so cool. So I got back into it then. But
Pokemon
yeah, it's just
Go
like,
was huge for a while until some people
yes,
started
Yes.
dying.
that yeah. I know that too.
Yeah,
Like
so-
I will still like check it every once in a while, because like where I work, like there's like a Pokestop or a Poke Gym, and like every once in a while I'll check it, and I'm just like, my Pokemon that I put in there like got defeated. I'm like, who other people are still playing it? Like I'm hardly even playing it, but I'm like, wow, it's crazy that other people are still like playing it.
Yep,
Yeah,
mine
my-
too, Pops. Mine is just turned 7, and he's been collecting Pokemon for a year. And yeah, it's still going strong.
Yeah, my kids who are adults now are about the same age as Haley played Pokemon. And we went on vacation one time and played Pokemon Go. Because we were in a different town, we had to find
Yeah.
out where the places to catch the Pokemon were. So we had we went out late one night and we're driving around town trying to find places to capture
Yeah.
Pokemon. So that's
It's cool
all
'cause-
I know about it is that game, Pokemon Go.
I find it kind of fascinating that they aged it up a bit for the serialized version.
Yeah, it's definitely, and I mean, I don't know, like, because here you can see, like, there's the names of the author and artist. I probably will pronounce it wrong, but I don't know if they had any, like, relation to, if they worked on, like, any of the games or the show or anything, or if it's totally different people working on both. Like, obviously it's, because the main character, like, he looks, and he's got a Pikachu, so, like, he looks similar to Ash from the show, which is, like, Ash and Pikachu, like, those are the characters that everyone knows, but his name's Red, which is interesting. All the characters are named after the games, because there's, like, Red and Blue, and there's, like, the other character's named Blue, and then I think there's more later that are like Ruby, Sapphire, Diamond, and Pearl. Like those are the games that like I played as a kid. So it like continues through those. But yeah, so the main character is like clearly similar to the main character from the show, but he's different. And like actually Pikachu was not even his first Pokemon. Like he already had a Pokemon before he like went to the professor and got the Pikachu, which is like what happens in the first episode of the show. So it's definitely like similar elements, but a different take, which is interesting.
I'm gonna have to wait till my grandson gets a little bit older and then get that for him for his birthday.
Yeah. So let's see what. Oh, it says rated all ages. But, yeah.
John, you're up.
All right. Let me go ahead and add in my next one. Barb, it looks like you might have to click through them for me.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. All right. So that explains a lot. All right. So the first one,
Oh my.
Yeah, the first one went Silverline. The next one, Image. Image was huge. Definitely not Marvel, not DC. These were not your dad's comics. And Danger Girl, definitely one of my all-time favorites. Just because it was so much fun. And it was exciting. And Barb, if you could go to the next one, DG1, double page spreads, triple page covers. J. Scott Campbell, I mean, just was a beast. And he had and has, but like, especially back then when he was young and just so like at the top of his art, if you could go to DGX2, go to the next one over first, Barb. This was a scene, I believe it was from issue 2, where he had a snowmobile chase scene in a comic book. And thank you to whoever put this on the internet. I pulled it down today. And it was just
So it shows the whole sequence. Yeah.
And if you go back to the DGX 2, number 2, Barb, and showing like the rest of it going off, the whole snow avalanche, just the things that he was able to do and the kinetic energy he was able to bring to the page, things that you don't normally see in a comic book. Even like when you have Spidey doing the twists and the flips with the multiple figures and stuff, just he was able to capture stuff I hadn't seen captured, in that way, and other stuff that he brought to the table that just kind of like was like a whoa, you can do that. Taking a look at the next one, you can tell, and when Image came out with the new G.I. Joe series, Barb, if you could kick on, thank you. He kind of did his own homages as well that were very not really subtle. Obviously, he loved G.I. Joe. He did the cover for the first G.I. Joe that came out through Image, and he had his own not so subtle, homages to
Knockoff,
Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. And I was like, whoa, you can do that? So this one would be the one that was, the analogous. Oh, that's not a word. The one that would be like the parallel to Snake Eyes. And then I just threw the Storm Shadow one up there. Or at least I'm trying to. There we go. And just Danger Girl was a hell of a lot of fun. One of the other things that really kind of made it interesting was you get the setup, you get the series, you learn who like the 3 major characters are. They're on this team. And then Barb, if you could toss up the next one of the main people is a villain. She turns on the team. It was planned from the beginning. It was like in like the first story arc. So it was like, okay, that's kind of cool, like total like fake out right there. So yeah, for that is why J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl made my list.
Benjamin says you guys are picking some great stuff that I grew up with, making me want to draw.
I want to see what you draw, Ben.
Yeah.
That's the plan, Benjamin, is to rope you in.
And I will say about his artwork, while it still has the Image feel to it, it's not so out there that the women's waists are pretty small, but it makes sense. It works. Whereas some of the other stuff from Image, broken backs looking stuff, and
well, wait till we get to some of my other picks.
and well, but we'll get into that. Where the woman's chest is way up here, but on others, this one is actually a healthy. They're in place where they need to be.
I like J. Scott Campbell's work.
Very nice work. It fits right in the Image groove, but at the same time, I think he takes it to a more professional, well-rounded, well-educated level. So I appreciate what he did. So, and he's still doing, I think. I haven't followed his career.
He's mostly covers.
He's still out there. He's still out there working.
Yeah.
All righty.
Okay, it's her turn. Uh-oh.
Solitaire.
That almost made my list.
Jeff Johnson.
Almost made my list.
And
as much as I love that guy's pencils, and I always have since I first saw him on Wonder Band, there's something about the person who like really brought out the best of his pencils with the inks. I don't know what it is.
This blur filter is just driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's tough to get it to work right. About the only thing you can do is get it up in front of you. Oh, there now. Yeah.
Yeah, and who was the other artist on this? Yeah. Kilbert. That's right. I did every issue of Solitaire, but that's not the reason I picked it. I picked it because Jeff was one of my favorite all-time pencilers to work with. The story was kick-ass. He said he was hard to kill. And he went by Solitaire. And then we find out later that his name is Nicholas Lone and that he's the son of a crime boss named Anton Lone. And his mission is to take out silently going in a fight against his father's old crime syndicate. And he starts with the king, who is King Pleasure, who doesn't believe there's any reason not to enjoy everything possible in life. Benjamin says J. Scott style was a mix of Disney and American manga. That's a really good way to put it. That's very interesting. Matt says, "Hi everybody, hi." And there were, gosh, I can't remember, 11 issues.
Love that car. Love that car in the background. Yeah, nice.
Oh, with the fins,
57 Chevy. Yep, looks like a Chevy.
Yeah,
and his Jeep behind it. He's drawing real cars.
Real cars, yes. That's it was written by Gerard Jones, who I think did a fantastic job writing this, and it stayed interesting, and that's hard to do for me, as I get bored easily. This damn filter is driving me crazy. But all the covers were done by Jeff and myself. So every single cover was maintained a continuity, and if you follow the covers, actually it's a fight scene. So the first one is this fight scene, and then he jumps on the bike. Issue number 2, issue number 3.
So the covers are a story.
The covers are a story.
Okay,
that's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, and that was Jeff's idea. But it was fantastic. Fun book. Old Malibu, the Ultraverse book, and I know that a lot of people are still huge Ultraverse fans, and there's a reason for that, is because the Ultraverse was fresh, different, fresh characters, fresh stories, and it brought a lot of fun to comics. And this is one of my funner. Is that a word?
Funner.
Yep, it is now.
I'm a huge fan of Ferret. That was another good one. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okie dokie. We are back around to Rob.
Okay.
So,
This one is M.
M, you got it. All right. And the first one's up.
Okay. Yes, that's Mantra. One of the most unique concepts I have ever seen in comics, by Mike Barr, that came up with this female battling character that is actually a man inside a woman's body. Now we're talking the 90s here. I don't think they could do this book now and not get in a lot of trouble.
Oh no,
But
because there was some really
weird stuff going on there. But he kind of deftly explored what a man's mind in a woman's body would probably go through. Plus he had some intrigue going on and some other things with it. But the main reason that I picked this was because of the concept. The concept itself is just incredible, and then was well drawn by I believe Dodson.
Yes, Terry Dodson.
Terry Dodson did the covers. I'm forgetting who did. That's not a Terry cover, but
No.
forget who did the insides. Maybe it'd be a guess and it'd be wrong. But Terry Dodson did many of the covers, and it's just stellar work. Beautiful artwork and interesting stories. Don't know where Mike Barr came up with this, but it would be like I said today. It probably no comic book company would probably touch it with a 200-foot pole because of the story.
Yeah, not only would a lot of people have a fit about it, but it got really risque in some spots.
It did.
And I think my favorite few issues of that was the first few issues, because that was when he pops up in a woman's body and he's like trying to figure out how it works, how to walk. Mm-hmm. He's got a daughter he doesn't know what to do with. And over the course of the series, he kind of grows into being a female. But at first it's like, oh my God, what are these? What do I do with them? You know?
Exactly.
And then
that's a unique concept. Yeah.
Yes, his balance is all shot because he's top heavy all of a sudden.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh my! yes, Sula would say.
But yeah, but that's why I picked it because of the concept.
All right, Haley, you're up
All
again.
right. Well, I've only got one more, so I
That's
didn't have
okay.
a full 5. But another video game based manga, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina
Oh
of Time.
yeah.
So yeah, which yeah, I picked this up because I love Zelda games mostly because like they have really engaging characters and stories, as well as being just like fun games to play. So yeah, and like here's some of the art with that. So it follows the story of the game, and I think it follows it pretty faithfully and does make some changes. But yeah, I think it really works as a manga because the Zelda games, like I said, they are very like story focused and have just really engaging stories and just characters that you can just really latch onto and really like. So it translates well into like a non-video game form, which makes sense because I think they're working on a movie, and I mean that's probably been going on for forever, but I don't know. They're probably always like trying to make a Zelda movie.
So
I think that's yeah.
Is that laid out to read from the back toward the front?
It is, yeah, because
that's the way they're published in Japan.
Yeah, because that's
Because
how they read in Japan.
They read right
but
to
even
left. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So like the back. Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's in and then it's in English, but then you have to, which is interesting because when I read it, I find like even though like I said I don't really read much manga at all, like I find that it's very easy for my brain to switch over and just be like, oh okay, I'm just reading the speech bubbles and the panels in the opposite order than I normally would. Like I feel like I don't know if other people feel that, but I feel like it's not as confusing as like I would think it would be being used to reading left to right, but yeah,
that would be
like that
different. I'm not familiar with Zelda at all,
and
actually.
it's nice. It's nice, interesting layouts on the pages.
Yeah,
too.
like
Really,
I mean, yeah,
really
like,
dynamic.
There's like a lot going on. Yeah, and I think that's something which like these two books, like I feel like the panel layouts are like they're more, I guess, more varied than a lot of American comics, but they feel like clear. Like other manga that I've tried to read, like it's not even the opposite way that the text goes thing. Like it's something about the panel layouts, and like sometimes they don't have as many panels, and it's like they kind of all blur together, and I'm just like like it hurts my brain to read it, even though you think it would be the right to left thing. But it's like that doesn't bother me, but something about like the way the
it may be that the, as I call it, comic book grammar, visual grammar, is their grammar's probably a little bit different. It's partially because they read right to left, and probably because of the way the storytelling's done in Japan. I've never read many manga at all, so I haven't dealt with any of that. But that sounds like what's going on. Looks interesting though, beautifully laid out.
Yeah, I mean, I read webtoons, but that's easy because it's
because they go just
vertical. Yeah. All right, John, you're up again.
All right, so the next from me is Joseph Michael Linsner and Dawn. Dawn first appeared in the 80s, late 80s, as cover art, cover character for a series called Cry for Dawn. And then she was created by Joseph Michael Linsner, who did some of the stories in Cry for Dawn. He went off and did his own and fleshed her out as a full character. Launched her first title. Next pick.
Can we just answer Benjamin's question first? My favorite Zelda game is Ocarina of Time. What was yours?
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites. I think that's the first one that I played all the way through, so that was my favorite for a while. And then it's either that or Twilight Princess or Breath of the Wild. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
Back to this. Well, he's got such a
I mean,
style.
His art
Yeah.
is just beautiful. When I first saw one of the covers for Cry for Dawn in Previews magazine, and I didn't care what was inside the book, I'm like, this art is just fantastic. And if we go to the next
Teenage boys.
I was going to say, it's not just incredibly good looking women, which is, what he is most known for. But I mean, just look at the guy there. So yes, he's flushed Dawn out, themes about, love, death, good, evil. She's an immortal goddess, all kinds of things about self-discovery, about gods, religion. I don't even know how to put it all, because he's gone so many different areas with it, and he's done so much with her. But just based upon the art alone, I was hooked the moment I first saw his stuff. And the first series of Dawn available in trade paperback, I would recommend checking it out. Every page is beautiful.
So the cheesecake was the bait, and but he hooked you and reeled you in with the story.
Cry for Dawn number 4 was the cover that I first saw, and I was like, wow.
And one of the things, I mean, I don't mind cheesecake, but one of the things that impressed me about his artwork was she has hip bones. Oh my God!
Yeah,
she actually has hip bones.
Yeah, he drew real women. He didn't draw it. Yeah. Plus, she has wide hips, whereas a lot of the image, they're very narrow. Or she's real.
Yeah,
she's got real anatomy.
Yeah.
So always impressive.
And the hoo-haws are weighted in a correct manner, so
gravity acts upon them properly. Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So good choice. Yeah, I liked his artwork too. When this first came out, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, his painting is just
beautiful
amazing
stuff.
Yeah, so it's painting. I was going to ask what medium is, because it looks like a traditional.
All of his stuff was traditional, because if you keep in mind when he was working on the stuff, especially for Cry for Dawn, talking like late 80s. So lots of, I believe, colored pencils, or maybe chalks, maybe pastels. I'm not quite sure. I've seen him draw at conventions, but again, that was like 30 years ago. God, I'm old. I hate being old.
And what you do at conventions is different than what you can do in the studio.
Well, no, those were some the same tools, so it was getting the same output, for fans, for when he was still doing commissions and stuff at the shows way back in the day.
Yeah, those are beautiful. Okie doke. Back to me, huh? All right. This is one of my all-time favorites. Vampire Lestat. Anne Rice's Vampire Lestat from Innovation.
I remember when that came out.
Yep, and it was adapted by Fave Perisic and painted by Derek Gross. And his artwork, I gotta let this settle a bit. His artwork is just unbelievable. He does a mixed media. It's all painted and with watercolor and colored pencil. And he does so much with like this. Here. Well, get it up.
It's almost monochromatic.
Yeah. But I don't know if you can. I'm trying to get this to hold still long enough for you to get a good look at it. But a lot of just silhouettes. There we go.
There it is. Popped in.
And if you're familiar with Anne Rice's Vampire Lestat, it's just a retelling of the novel, but the artwork is so stunning that I could not put it down. I studied every single panel in this book. It's beautiful. It's painted. It tells the story of Lestat and how he is it Lewis? Is that his name? His companion, that he brings him over to the dark side, and then they get their little girl that was he brought her over while she was still a child, which is supposed to be a big no-no. Excuse me. And they pay the price for that, and it shows that in here too. But what my favorite part about it is the artwork. That's bar none. I've read the book. So I already was familiar with the story. So I didn't buy it for the story, even though the story is fantastic. If you've never read Vampire Lestat or seen the movie with Brad
Cruise.
Pitt and Tom Cruise, yeah, and Antonio Banderas.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah. But it's just the artwork is stunning. I highly, highly recommend it. Back to Rob.
Okay. Now we're to S.
All right.
Because we're winding down here.
All right.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. This can be my last one, I guess, since we're getting toward the end of the hour, which is fine. My last one was kind of a toss in. Terry Moore's Strangers in Paradise. It's
Love it, love it, love it,
yeah,
love it.
I was on a digital board, on a computer board called Comics. It was on CompuServe, and it was the Comics and Animations forum. And I met Terry Moore on the Comics and Animation forum, and he sent me photocopies of the first few pages of Strangers in Paradise, the first issue, for me to look at, because he just wanted my opinion of it. And I was blown away by the artwork and the story, because it's like no other comic you've ever read. It's a slice of life, but it's also, it explores relationships. There's some espionage. It's just it's hard to describe the book without.
I've heard it described as
help me
relationship
out here,
drama about a love triangle, but it incorporates elements of crime and thriller and espionage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's got all that stuff. It's a strange mix, and it's done in a very distinctive style, and the characters feel real. You get hung up on the characters themselves, and you get pulled into the story, and you think it's going one way, and then boom, it turns and goes another way. It's an incredible read, and I have just about every issue of it. I was doing my cataloging of my collection not too long ago, and I ran across Strangers in Paradise. I had to stop and read a few pages here and there, but I think I'm missing a few issues, but I followed it all the way through.
Yeah.
But getting that first taste of it in black and white photocopies of what he was doing, and I was just blown away. When he started publishing it, getting it published, I went, okay, I got to get this. So it's a hell of a read. Yeah, and I understand it was also on your list.
It was. Kachu was the former sex worker who was involved in the crime world, and she's the pessimistic one. And then there's Francine, who's the idealistic, stars in her eyes, naive, wants the perfect life. And Kachu's in love with her, and David is in love with Kachu, and he's also involved with the crime family.
We've got all kinds of just interactions of characters, and it feels very real. I've seen real life people go through crazy things like that.
They were high school friends, and Kachu left and then came back, and because she's just definitely in love with Francine.
Yeah, and you don't know Kachu's background
it unfolds slowly.
Yeah, you don't know that at the start, but if you read the whole thing and then go back and reread it again, you go, it's all there.
Foreshadowing.
Started out with foreshadowed all of this stuff. It's all in there. So it's the writer's mind. Sometimes they can just think of it. It's like J.K. Rowling said that all of Harry Potter came to her in a flash. I think that's probably the same kind of thing that's happened with Terry Moore and Strangers in Paradise. But
all right, John, we're going to do one more from you, and then I'll wrap it up on one more from me.
All right, this is going to be tough then, but I got to go indie then, because you got to love the independent books. And so the last one I'll throw up would be as 90s as you possibly can get. Bill Mouse, Mira X. You know, Nira and Bill.
Yeah.
Bill's a great friend of mine. We've known each other going on 30 years, and it's because of Nira. I loved his stuff. I love like the kinetic energy he brought to the page. He also, before he was doing stuff at Entity, he was also doing a lot of the parody press books. You know, so he's got a wide swath of art abilities. Great guy too. And Nira X, I mean, just indie. Fun, the bad girl craze. She is a time traveling cyber angel from the future sent to the past to defeat the bad guy Paradox so her timeline doesn't get wiped out. And her uniform is made out of like a cyber skin that could be used to create plasma weapons. Bam. That's like the 90s in like a sentence. So, you know, and his art,
right.
You know, as I was talking about
Very
like the J. Scott Campbell stuff with Danger Girl, his art is fun and it's kinetic. And I remember, you know, you mentioned CompuServe, Rob. I wasn't in the CompuServe days, but I was in the AOL chat board days. And
Which is
I
right, came along right after. Yeah,
and I remember throwing a note
into that.
in the entity board chat room or chat board or whatever it was called. I'm like, hey Bill, if you read this, send me a note. And like he did. And I was like, I would love to get you to do a piece for my book because I'm working on this book in the future. And he wound up being a great friend. And, you know, we've collaborated on a lot of Sniper and Rook stuff together over the years. Barb, could you click over the next one?
Oh, didn't notice you put it up. There you go.
And that would be my Sniper and Rook with his Nira X. And we use this one as an advertisement on the back page of one of my issues. And the lettering that went along with it was, take a chance on an independent comic. You never know what you might pick up. And you know,
nice.
you gotta love the indie stuff. And that's why that one went there too. And then this last one I'll show you was a print. Because we've talked about doing a Sniper and Rook Nira crossover for the longest time, where this one was kind of a mashup homage to Army of Darkness and Star Wars. So instead of Leia got Luke's legs with the lightsaber, we got Sniper, but he's looking up the skirt. We got, instead of Vader in the background, it's like Rook looking at him all pissed, going, dude, what are you doing? Come on, you're embarrassing me here. And so, yeah, definitely she has cyber thighs now. Yeah, so my good friend, my art partner, brother from another mother, Bill Mouse, and his Nira X definitely has to be on that list of favorite 90s comics.
Very, very good. And then I will wrap it up with one more, and this one's a fun one. Yes, I inked it every issue. But that's not why I picked it. Buckado. And I'm trying to get it to hold still long enough for it to come into focus. Come on. Buckado, Zap Gun for Hire. And there it came into. This was done by this was done by Paliard Press, and Phil Folio was the artist. I was the inker. He did the pencils and the zips. And it is a fun read. What it's about is that it's about the coalition. Humanity has joined a coalition in interstellar space called the Gallimaufray, and they're also the custodian of the Winslow, who's this little god creature. But he looks like a fuzzy alligator. It's like a stuffed animal alligator. But he's highly sought after. And the whole story revolves around law machines. And these are intelligent robots that enforce the law to the letter. Okay? So if everybody hates living anywhere in Gallimaufray because the law machines are quite literal to the letter of the law. But there was a hacker at some point who broke into the planetary government and wrote a new law that said there are no laws on New Hong Kong, which is the planet that Buck lives on. And so it's a lawless planet, and he is a zap gun for hire. He's part detective. He's part enforcer, and the thing is, he's huge. He's this huge guy. I mean, let me see if I can. Well, yeah, this is Buck. See, it is,
Oh, that's him.
yeah,
Oh,
that's Buck.
He's the Fat Fury.
But it's a kind of a fake out because he's a Hofamite, which means that he can control gravity to a certain extent. He's a high muscular density, and he's actually really, really agile on his feet. He's quick, and he's smart, and he's a dead shot, and he's hired by all these different people to, retrieve things or protect them. Whoops, I gotta get rid of it. And Pop says, "Love Bill. He has been a good friend to the network." So if I highly recommend finding Buck Godot, Zap Gun for Hire. It's just a very, very, very fun read. With lots of silliness.
Phil Folio is
Phil Folio. Yeah, a lot of silliness.
Yeah, I saw his stuff. First started seeing his stuff on Dungeons and Dragons cartoons in I think Dragon Magazine. That's where I first saw his work, and he's kind of branched out. He's done all kinds of different stuff.
Yeah, he did Xenophile for a while, which is a XXX book. Which I also did.
It literally starts with the XXX Xenophile. Yeah. I remember that.
But then he got married and toned things down, and he and his wife did Girl Genius, which has won all kinds of awards.
Never read that, but I heard great things about that book.
Yeah, it has won all types of awards, and it's still in the Phil Folio style, which he's got his own very particular style. You can't miss it.
Cartoony, expressive. Plus, he's a hell of a writer as well. So
he's a lot of fun. And that wraps it up. We didn't quite get through all 5, but we got through 3 or 4 of our.
Well, my last one was kind of iffy anyway. It started in the 80s, went into the 90s book. So, but we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, we'll save that.
Maybe we'll come back into 80s or the 2000s or whatever.
Yeah, we'll have to do some of this again because I know that a lot of our watchers are of a certain age. Like the 90s. I love the 90s because it paid well.
Haley likes the 90s because she was born
for a while.
I know.
For a while, I got when the implosion came. I kind of got nudged out of the industry. But
here's an interesting story about Buck Godot. This came out in 1993, and I took a handshake deal with Phil that I would do every single issue. I didn't know how many years it was going to take, but I would do every single issue for $25 a page. And at a certain point, I was working for Marvel and DC and Now and Innovation, and I was making a hell of a lot more than $25 a page. But it was a deal. A deal's a deal. I never charged him anything more than $25 a page for my
admirable.
You agreed to it, so you had to stick to it. Yep, that's the professional way to do it.
Yep, I'm a woman of my word, so I stuck with it, even though I was making hand over fist elsewhere. $25 a page.
How many issues did there wind up being, Barb? How many issues did there wind up being?
I can't remember how many there were. There was. I don't know. This is number 2. There were several. I mean, it took me like 9-10 years to do them all.
Cool.
It only came out like once or twice a year. So anyway, that was just a little tidbit.
Well, so it was not difficult to squeeze into your schedule.
No, it was fast inks because it was, simple lines and stuff like that. And I really loved doing it. And that's one of the reasons that I recommended it, because it was so much fun. It was a fun read. I looked forward to getting the pages and going, oh my God, now what's he doing? So it was a lot of fun.
Well,
Anyway,
this was a fun show.
yeah, we'll have to do this more. Okay.
Yes.
All right. As we like to say at the end of each of our shows, make mine Silverline.
Silverline.
Hi, I'm Dave Dorman. Make mine Silverline.